Do it live. Okay. Well, do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
So to get that perfect barbecue, you use wood. Are you sure it's safe? Whatever. We put the lighter fluid on, strike the match, and oh! Should we call the fire department? That might be a good idea.
Good evening and welcome to the Really Big Barbecue Central Show. This is the show that talks about all things that are important to the world of barbecue and grilling. The show originating from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city, Bomb City, USA, Cleveland, Ohio, the barbecue capital of the North Coast. I'm your program host, Greg Rempe. Happy to have you aboard here on your Tuesday evenings, a live fire, fun, and frivolity show. If you'd like to get in contact with the show this evening, or you would like to follow the show during off-show hours, here's how you do it.
You can get in touch with the show by sending an email to Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. Follow us on all the social media channels at BBQ Central Show. And be sure to subscribe to the show podcast feed on your favorite podcast platform.
Anything else you want to find out about the show can be found at the main website, thebbqcentralshow.com. And here's what's happening in case you didn't get the newsletter. Joining me in about 12 minutes from now, second time on the show. If you got the newsletter, you already got the heads up. Two names only, Steve and Susnik. National Guardist, live fire passionado, dater of my middle daughter, and sometimes live fill-in host of this show, Maddi Rempe. So Steve is jumping in tonight first. Interview segment off the top of the show, 9:14. Who knows what we're going to be talking about with Steve, but I can guarantee you it will be intense, it will be insightful, it will be elaborative, and fun. I think that's about all of the adjectives I can think of at the moment. So 14 past the hour, Steve Susnik, or should I say shortly. And then after Steve, longtime friend of the show, longtime sponsor of the show, and one of the manufacturers, one of the highest rated wireless thermometers currently available on the market, Ted Conrad from Fireboard. After talking with Barbecue Lab last week, figured it was time to have Ted back on as we get ready to close out the year. Wait, I'm going to sneeze. That's never happened before, ever in the history of the show. I don't even know why did that even happen? Never one. Uh-oh. I'm evaluating, seeing if this is like a allergy attack at the worst possible time. No, I think we're going to be all right. One-off sneeze out of the middle of nowhere. Figured we'd have Ted come on the show as the year is rapidly coming to a close. 6 weeks or so, probably less than that. Maybe right around 6 weeks. 5 weeks. Get a pulse update, make sure everybody's happy with their pulse, answer some other questions, talk about new stuff or stuff that might be coming down the pike. So Ted Conrad at 35 past the first hour, and then we'll move to the second hour. Fourth Tuesday of the month brings the hotly anticipated, never duplicated, Embedded Correspondence monthly segment. Doug Scheiding from Texas, John Solberg from Michigan, Matt Osman from Tennessee, and our pal Rusty Monson from the great city of Utah, all joining us here as we get ready to do what will be the last live Embedded Correspondent here in 2024. We will have one next month. But it is really going to be tough to not only do one, but the last two shows of the year, considering Tuesday is the 24th of January, and Tuesday the following week is the 31st. Sorry, December. And the Tuesday following Christmas Eve is New Year's Eve. Thought long and hard about it and said, I don't want to throw caution to the wind all the time and just go ahead. These seem to be over many other holidays, and we've done plenty of holidays on this show. Done the holiday during the day through the balance of the evening, and then showed up at 9 o'clock and done a regular live show. Done it many times over many decades. I don't remember the last time we've had the show fall on both Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. It is a fool's paradise, and people are leading me down a primrose path most of the time. But not this time. I will make sure that there is new content going into the feed those Tuesdays, but there will not be live shows those last 2 weeks of December, which would be Tuesday the 24th and Tuesday the 31st, for obvious reasons. So if you need your live fire fix, you will have it. It will just be new content in podcast form only. There will not be live shows those last 2 weeks. So that's how the show is laying out here this evening. Coming up in about 8 minutes from now, Steve Susnik, and then 35 past the first hour, Ted Conrad from Fireboard. Second hour, embedded correspondence if you need them. Don't forget, you can follow me socially, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat, all at the handles at BBQ Central Show, even on LinkedIn. We say good evening to those of you watching tonight through one of our video streaming platforms. You can go to Facebook.com/BBQ Central Show to watch, or Twitter.com/BBQ Central Show. You can also watch on YouTube if you prefer. YouTube.com/@BBQ Central Show, where we do have a new YouTube poll question of the week, and we're asking everybody this, including all guests. Susie Bullock is the most underrated live fire talent in the industry, and currently 67% of you are saying no. So it's tight right now. Moments ago, we were right at where I love to have the polls, which is 50-50. In a vacuum, where I love to have the polls sounds really weird, but I don't want to talk about that.
Get that big stuff out of here.
So we're really close to being dead even at this point, but the no's are edging out the yeses. 67% saying no. Susie Bullock is not the most
Andrew, you are
not the most underrated live fire talent in the barbecue industry today. Right? Yeah. We'll see how the rest of that poll works out this evening. And we'll start here tonight. Wireless thermometers. Dave Gafford, the Barbecue Lab. A great test done on the YouTube channel over there. By the way, don't just go to the barbecuelab.com's website. Also go to youtube.com and search the Barbecue Lab, because that's where all of the videos that we talk about are actually housed. You could probably link over from the Barbecue Lab website, but I don't know that to be the case with 100% assurity. But I do know if you go to youtube.com/at the barbecue, BARBECUE, at the Barbecue Lab, then you will see all of the videos that David has done there, and you will be happy to take in all of that information. But many of you are obviously on the hunt for wireless thermometers for the impending holiday season. You thought the video was absolutely fantastic. There were a slew of name brands that you didn't know about. I knew about them, of course, because once again, finger on the pulse of the community and the industry. But a lot of you had no idea that there were even 4 or 5, let alone the 9 that David tested during the course of that video. And 37 minutes in length. Certainly there's long form videos on YouTube, but the wheelhouse of successful YouTubers is not 37 minutes, but it's a very quick watch. A lot of different tests, a lot of great feedback and test results. So depending on what you're looking for, you can get the right one for you. Make sure that your holidays are going to be off to the right start. Well, look here as we get some fan feedback. Terry in Kentucky is writing in.
Terry?
Greg, where do I buy a T-shirt that you have been talking about over the past few weeks? I would love to show my passion and fandom for the show. Regards, Terry. Terry, I question your fandom without any question. I question your fandom. Is that Hippocratic enough? Or hypocrite? Whatever it is. All I know is this. I've been talking about selling these shirts for well over a month. In fact, you had a whole month to get in on this. And now you're asking where you can get it. You can't, Terry. It's over. Probably never to be done again. Thank you for writing it. I'm so disappointed, Terry. You were like the biggest fan. Mr. Backhand Compliment. Or Mrs. I don't know if Terry's a man or a woman. What I do know is it's time to talk about Schwank Grills. Check out the grill that everybody's talking about. What do you need to know? Unit heating up to 1,500 degrees. Using infrared burner technology. What does that mean to you? You can grill the juiciest steaks you've ever tasted in very little time. 3, 4, 5 minutes, depending on thickness. But you want a deal. You want to save a lot of money, of course. So what are you going to do? Right now, until December 2nd, which is days away at this point, you can save $250 off any Schwank grill. There's only one kind, but you can save $250 off the liquid propane or the natural gas. Or if you want to save more money, you can pair that grill and pick up a modern grill table. Save you $350 off the pair. Or you can maximize your complete savings when you not only get the grill and you add the modern grill table, but you also add the grill cover, saving you $450 off. Holy, that's a lot of money to save. In fact, saving that much money is like saving well over a third of the cost of just the Schwank grill alone. So once again, if it's only the grill you want, $250 off of that, no code needed. $350 off the grill when you pair it with a modern grill table. $450 off grill, modern grill table, and grill cover. Where? Schwankgrills.com. Promo code, no need for one. Just save your money and don't have to remember any codes or anything. But only until December 2nd, so hurry up. That's 6 days away. Maybe less. We're back with Steve Susnik right after this. Stick around, be right back.
You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show.
Ready?
Broadcasting live from the Barbecue Central Show studios in Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
All right, welcome back. This portion of the show is being brought to you by cookinpellets.com, your number one source for quality wood pellets for all your pellet-driven cookers. You visit cookinpellets.com and see their products, and then go to Amazon.com or Walmart.com or Lowe's.com to purchase same great products, just great shipping rates. Great folks over at cookinpellets.com. My next guest can be seen gallivanting across the campus at Kent State sometimes. Can also be seen on work sites across the greater Cleveland area, and can also be seen doing drill training during the weeks and months of any calendar year is our pal Steve Susnik joining us back on the show. Steve, how are you, pal?
Good, how are you?
Let's try that again.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sorry. I thought I hit the button and I did not
all
unmute
good.
you. You're a little big on the thing there,
Want me to
but
back
that's
up?
No, just leave it like that. I mean, you're an extra large human being anyway, so only in a muscular way,
Yeah,
not in a fat way. So you're we're just
big
playing
bone.
you
Big
the
bone.
right way,
Yeah.
you the right way. All right, Steve. So here you are, and we're in a time of the year when us live fire lovers, or should I say passionados, love to cook. So Thanksgiving is literally in 48 hours. I assume there's going to be, well, let me not assume, let me just ask, what's a traditional Thanksgiving look like at the Susnik house?
Oh, well, Mom's always cooking. We always host it at our place. She always does the turkey, the stuffing, the mashed potatoes. And then family members will bring the original sides, maybe cranberry sauce or what's the other stuff?
Is it homemade cranberry sauce?
Yeah,
or the,
it is.
Canned gelatin can?
No, I heard you were a fan of the can.
Love it.
Yeah, my
Nothing
mom
like
makes
cutting
it
a
homemade.
cranberry disc off and just putting it right in my mouth.
Yeah.
Nothing better. It's
Yeah,
so
no.
juvenile. So are you roast turkey
Yeah.
in the oven?
Yeah. Well, I think this year, so my mom is going to do one in the oven like she usually does. And she actually just started spatchcocking it. Is that the right term for it?
Yes. Spatchcock.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
And then, thank you. And then I think I'm going to do one in the smoker. So we'll do one in the oven and we'll do one in the smoker as well.
All right. I'm remiss because I didn't ask you the YouTube poll question of the week right at the top of the segment. So
Oh,
let's
God.
get that out of
I
the way and
didn't
then we'll talk
study.
about your preparation.
Okay.
We're asking this question to any and all guests plus people watching on YouTube. Susie Bullock from Hay Grill Hay is the most underrated live fire talent in the industry today. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. Right. So while your vote does not adjust the percentages on YouTube, I can tell you that 56% of the YouTube voting public at the moment are saying no. She is not the most underrated live fire talent today. However, I agree with you, Steve. I think she is easily the most underrated live fire talent out there going today. Let's get back to talking about smoking turkey. What's the plan? What are you going to do? What are you cooking on? What kind of fuel are you going to be using? We need to know the whole kit and caboodle.
So I haven't done too much research into it yet. But
It's only 48 hours away.
I know.
mean, you got plenty of time.
No need to waste time, But I'm going to be doing on the Oklahoma Joe's pellet smoker. We'll do pellets. I'm thinking, I don't know what kind of pellets I should use, whether to go like an applewood or a mesquite with a deeper smoke. I haven't really done the research on that yet. I think it's about a 12-pound turkey, so I'm not sure the time and variation. But I'm going to spatchcock it like my mom's going to do in the oven. And we're going to see how it turns out. I've never smoked a turkey before. I did turkey legs last year.
Yeah, right.
But not a whole turkey before. This will be a first time.
In your mind, is it a victory if everybody says, Steve, you're smoked? Secretly, of course. Steve, your turkey was the better out of the two, or do you hope maybe your mom still comes out on top?
Oh, I
You're a
mean,
good son.
I always got it. I mean, my mom will always come out on top. There's no way I can. I learn all my cooking from her, so there's no way I can overcome her what she has taught me.
Mm.
So I would say, yeah, she's always going to come out on top, no matter what.
You're going to brine this bad boy?
I don't think so. I don't know. I was doing a little bit more research on it. I just don't really see the point.
You going to inject?
Yeah, inject. Yeah, I think injection is a bit more of a better way to do it.
Will you get really intense and put on nitrile gloves, and then where the chicken neck used to be, turkey neck used to be, pick up
Yeah.
the skin there and start working your hands through the turkey skin, separating the skin from the meat, and then creating pockets and throwing butter globs.
Yeah,
and,
I've seen that before.
Rub and all this nonsense. Are you going to do that?
I might. I mean, I've seen, like, the videos I've been seeing so far, they just put nothing but butter on it. It's like sticks and sticks of, like, softened butter, and they just stuff it with that and throw it all over the skin. So, I don't know. Maybe I'll join the bandwagon, but we'll see. I'd definitely do the injection though.
Have you seen the lady on TikTok that takes a whole turkey and she fills the cavity with Velveeta cheese?
Velveeta cheese?
You like Velveeta cheese on its own?
Yeah, I do. I like. Yeah, I mean, I think Yeah, Velveeta.
You ever thought about filling a turkey cavity with it?
No, not at all. But I think I'd take Velveeta cheese over the Kraft macaroni and cheese any day of the week.
Are we going into a Kraft cheese argument here? All right, here we go.
I think Velveeta's got that. I mean,
YouTube poll question of the week number 2. Is it Velveeta mac and cheese or Kraft Blue Box mac and cheese?
No,
I don't want to go out on a limb, but I think you're going to have fight number 1 with Marley upstairs, who is a...
I mean, maybe like the Kraft macaroni and cheese Scooby-Doos. Those were always good. But if we're going for flavor... I always felt like you got,
as a person who had to feed you people, I always felt like I was getting gypped when it was the cartoon characters or the special noodles, and you could get plenty more of the elbows if that's what I think those were elbows. But when you had the specialty shapes, it's like you got jammed up and you had to pay triple. So now you were paying, back in the old days, you're paying $1.89 for a box of that when you were only paying 79 cents for a box of the other stuff. And I didn't think that the texture was that good either.
I don't know. Maybe I think Scooby-Doo was worth it when I was that old, maybe.
So many years ago.
Yeah. Many moons.
What are we looking at from a libation situation at Thanksgiving? What do you like to have with the turkey? You white wine guy? Are you Pinot like some of the snobs?
No, I mean, I don't know. I don't really know much about wine. I mean, I like my my bourbon, so I'll probably do bourbon, something simple. I don't know.
Nice bourbon pairing with the turkey.
Yeah,
Turkey's
I mean, I don't know.
Vanilla palate.
What usually, I mean, what, you drink red wine or white wine with turkey? Or
you wouldn't want to go red like the traditional Cab or a Merlot, nothing like that. But Pinot, which is a lighter red, became very popular with some movie. I think it was called Sideways. You probably don't even remember that, but it was a very popular movie. They were making Pinot in that movie, I think, or what. All of a sudden, everybody had to have Pinot Noir. That seems to pair really well with turkey, regardless of that movie or nonsense story I just told you. So if you like red wine, and I would say go no deeper than the Pinot, but otherwise this is where your white wines really shine. Very complimentary of the turkey because, once again, turkey isn't really robust with any type of real flavor unless whatever you're adding to it is going to shine through. So you can have the drier wine, Sauvignon Blanc, Pinot Grigio, or you can sweeten it up with a Gewürztraminer, Riesling, or the Chardonnay, of course, that everybody likes. You like that stuff?
The Pinot Grigio, I think I've had before. I think I like the Pinot Grigio. I think Maddi has had it before too. I don't know. Maybe not.
You like Pinot Grigio, Maddi? No. All right.
No. Okay. Well, I'll try next time.
Most of the is it most of the women? I think all the women in my house are Moscato drinkers.
Yeah.
And the sweeter the better, I think. Is the
I don't know. I don't know much about wine. Is Pinot Grigio just strictly red wine?
Pinot Grigio is white, but it's dry like red wine.
Oh no, yeah, you wouldn't like. Yeah, Maddi wouldn't like that.
No. Everybody's sweet here.
No.
All right, enough of this nonsense. Let's talk about man shit. As we know, Steve is a member of the National Guard. Yeah. And how long you been a guardsman?
I've been in for 5 years now.
What's your rank?
I am a E4, just specialist.
Specialist, right? And last year you won Soldier of the Year in the whole world, right?
In the state of Ohio, my town.
Yeah, it's like the same thing.
Yeah,
you live in Ohio,
same.
so it might as well be the world.
Yeah.
And then recently you were at a training because it's the Guard is a weekend a month and 2 weeks a year. Is that what the thing is? Yeah.
Yep.
So every month you're out there doing a weekend and you're doing some kind of training. And this time, had you ever done this kind of training before?
No, this was.
What did you do?
First time.
What was the agenda for the weekend?
So, well, a month prior, before this month's drill, we got notified that we will be taking over the riot calls for the state of Ohio because MPs or other units were going overseas. So our engineer battalion will now be taking over the state of Ohio for any riot calls or any kind of government issues going on for the state of Ohio. So this month we had to get certified on riot training and TCPs, which is a traffic control point, which is when you would like search a vehicle or just ask them general questions because they're about to enter a government building, and then as well as site security. So it was a week of training, and then our main focuses were those 3 points: the riot control, site security, and TCPs.
What was the highlight of the weekend, he asked facetiously.
Well, I mean, I'll start it off. It wasn't a good highlight, but so with doing riot control, you have your team set up, and you have your guys holding the riots. You got your guys holding the batons, and then you got your guys holding mace, which is like pepper spray. And I unfortunately am one of the guys holding the pepper spray, so I have to get certified on pepper spray. And in order to get certified on the pepper spray, you have to get pepper sprayed.
Wow. Lucky you.
No, horrible experience. Awful experience. I mean, terrible. Like I said, when I went to boot camp in 2019, we had to do, and I think everyone has to do this going through Army basic training, but we had to go through the gas chamber. And I would do the gas chamber 10 more times than to get sprayed in the face with that shit ever again.
Wow. So what does certification mean? Like you're so far, you have the guys with the riot shields, you have baton holders, and then are you like third deep? Or are you right on the line? Or?
It's kind of set up in a formation sort of way. So the front lines, guys holding the shield, unfortunately, those are going to be your lower enlisted. I mean, they're holding the shield. They're going to be, and then your second row guys are going to be me, which is like team leaders and guys holding batons. And then behind me would be squad leaders with the medics, and then so on and so forth, high ranks in the back. So it kind of starts with the lower enlisted, and then you move your way back. So,
and certification is you're learning how to pull the trigger the right way.
Yeah,
is
so
it
you're
like
essentially,
a can, or what does it look?
You
like?
can't just. I mean, if someone's coming after you, you can't just pull out a can of mace and just spray them. You have to tell them like, "Hey, I have a can of mace. I will spray." I will.
Like the whole personal defense.
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. You have to let them know that you have this stuff on you.
Maybe they decide to stop running at you.
I really hope so, because man, they're in a they're in a rule of pain. I think so. The stuff that you kind of buy, the stuff that you get on the shelves, is like around, the intensity is like 0.2 intensity. I'm not sure what the actual what 0.2 means, but I know the intent is like the hurt or the burn or whatever is 0.2, the strength. And the stuff that we use is 0.8. So it's 4 times stronger than what we get on the civilian market. But also, I looked into it, and bear mace is just short 1 at 0.9.
Whoa.
You're
basically getting blasted in the face with bear mace.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's awful. It was, I mean,
as soon as it hits you. Bring me back to that magical moment.
So they line you up on the course, and you go through this whole thing. So they line you up, and you're standing right there. And what sucked about it is they had everyone else stand behind you. So guys were getting sprayed prior to them actually even going up in the lane and getting sprayed. I got sprayed like 3 times before I actually went up and got sprayed. So the instructor calls you up, and they go through everything, what you're about to do, blah, 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 blah. So they spray you, and then right after they spray, you have to say your name and rank and open your eyes. So they spray you, OCOC, and you open your eyes, and you say, okay, your name and rank. So then once you move on to your name and rank, then it hits you right as soon as you open. I mean, they spray you, they close you keep your eyes shut, but I mean, as soon as you open your eyes, it hits you.
Is it worse with your eyes open? Like if you could keep your eyes shut, does it lessen the pain, or it doesn't matter?
I don't think it would lessen the pain, only because the pain came from the chemical. It was the burn that hurt the most.
Oh, yes.
So, I mean, even if I had my eyes open, I still couldn't see anything. So I'm going through the course. You got to do a few takedowns, whatever. And I took this one kid down, and once I took him down and went to the ground, I think that's when all the spray from the top of my forehead came down into my eyes and into my mouth, and that's when it got really bad. And then after, you go to this first aid station, and they take care of you and basically just drain your eyes out with soap and water. Just regular dish soap.
Does it immediately make it go back to normal, or are you?
No, not at all. No, absolutely not.
So how long does it remain with you?
So I got it out of my eyes pretty quickly, so I could see, after like a good 15, 20 minutes, I think I could see fine. But it was the chemical burn that did when the instructor was spraying me, she started at my ear, and she sprayed my ear for a good second and then moved onto my face. So the one right side of my ear was numb and just really red, just really bad chemical burn on it. So that hurt the most. And then also, when you take a shower, the water reactivates the chemical burn. So, I mean, guys were showering that night, and I mean, everyone in the trains were screaming, and and it was just complete chaos for probably 2 days. It was horrible. Wow. I mean, I got back home from drill, I took a shower, and my face was still burning.
Not fun.
No, it was horrible. No. It was awful.
As you said, you'd rather do the gas chamber 10 times.
Oh yeah, right? yeah. Because I mean, you go through the gas chamber, you go in with a mask on, and then you open your mask up, and you do your exercises, this, that, and the other, and they're yelling at you, they're screaming at you. You're only in there for like 4 minutes. But then you go out and you're coughing, and you might throw up or whatever, but the burn is done instantly. Like the pain is gone 5 minutes once you're out of the chamber. The pain's not gone once you get sprayed with the OC.
It's with you for days.
The OC's there to stay. And it's there to stay for a few days.
Well, that gives you a little insight as to what goes into this whole training program, and they're getting blasted in the face, so they're just not indiscriminately blasting it into the crowds. You have to feel what it's like before you administer it.
Absolutely.
All right, total break here as we have about a minute left. What are you hoping for the most present-wise this holiday season?
Ooh, the most present-wise. I got a minute. Oh, shit. Present. I asked for running boards for my truck.
Yeah?
Yeah, so a new addition for my truck would be nice.
Very nice. Not
they do get expensive, so
not a waste of
Santa, if you're looking, if you're watching.
Yeah.
It was a good boy this year.
All right.
So.
Well, we'll take your word for it. Certainly your pain that you've had to endure the last drill should certainly earn you a minimum of running boards, maybe some high-intensity fog lamps and maybe window tint and all this other stuff just to help ease the pain a little bit more. Yeah. Steve, do you have social handles that people can follow you at? Do you not care about that?
No, I don't. No, I don't. I mean, Facebook, but that's just for friends and family.
All right, Steve says everybody should follow at BBQ Central Show in lieu of him, of course.
Yes.
And Steve, appreciate you recounting the drill, and also as we look forward to Happy Thanksgiving, and we'll see you in a couple days.
All right. Can I say one more thing before I go?
Hold on.
All right.
Go ahead.
All right. Greg Rempe deserves to be in the Barbecue Hall of Fame.
Oh.
All right, thank you. That's it.
Very nice. I didn't know that was coming. But I'll take it. I will take it. That was Steve Susnik sitting right here in studio. There are available seats in studio if you ever wanted to come through Cleveland. I don't know why you would ever come through Cleveland, but if you did on a Tuesday and you wanted to come through the show, you got a whole setup right here, as you saw. Thank you, Steve. Let's talk to you about Pits and Spits before we get to Ted Conrad, who's waiting in the green room. If you're serious about your grilling game, then you need to check out the latest offerings from Pits and Spits. Let's kick things off With the new griddle, the gas griddle combines the power of traditional grilling with a versatile flat top. Engineered with precision, crafted from top quality materials, the versatile grill is set to revolutionize your outdoor cooking experience. Constructed of 304 marine-grade stainless steel, fully welded design, the griddle comes with 4 burners to accurately manage your heat zone and gets blistering hot with 80,000 BTUs. Made with Pits and Spit's signature quality, the griddle is designed to last for generations. Now, for those of you building your ultimate outdoor kitchen, you have to check out the built-in pellet grill, designed for discerning grill masters who demand top-tier performance. This grill is the centerpiece for any serious outdoor kitchen. From low and slow smoking to high heat searing, this grill can handle it all. Brisket, ribs, pizza, veggies, you name it, this grill can cook it. And with Pits and Spit's legendary craftsmanship, you can be confident it's built to last. With stainless steel construction and a design that's reliable and versatile. So if you're ready to take the cooking to the next level, head on over to pitsandspits.com/BBQ Central and use promo code BBQ Central for a free spice pack with orders over $500 or more. That's pitsandspits.com/BBQ Central, and then use promo code BBQ Central as you check out. You get a free spice pack with orders of $500 or more, and their steak rub is absolutely phenomenal. It's one of my favorites out there. It's a sleeper. I recommend it this holiday season. Ted Conrad is next. Stick around.
You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Howard Stern, Jim Rome, Dan Patrick, and Greg Rempe. The Mountain Rushmore of talk show entertainment. Now, let's get back to the Barbecue Central Show.
And only because he's 35 past the first hour, this segment is brought to you by Fireboard. Makers of Fireboard 2, Fireboard Pro, Fireboard Spark, Fireboard Beacon, and of course the Fireboard Pulse. By the way, when you use the Fireboard app, you have total access to all of those devices anywhere where you have cell signal. Find out more by visiting fireboard.com or call 816-945-2232. The good folks over at Fireboard. My next guest just happens to be co-founder of the aforementioned Fireboard, as we welcome back our pal Ted Conrad to the show. Ted, we have a YouTube poll question of the week that we're asking everybody, including all guests, which sounds like this. Is Susie Bullock the most underrated live fire talent in the barbecue industry today? Yes or no?
Say no.
No. 67% of the YouTube voting public are in your favor as well. Who's more underrated, would you say?
Of the live fire?
Live fire. Barbecue grilling.
Who's the most underrated? I mean, what are your like eligible candidates? I mean, who are you guys?
I mean, my question was just if you thought Susie was the most underrated. There's not much more thought put in a YouTube poll question of the week than cursorily.
Gosh, that's a great question, Greg. So, like, now let's see. Would you like Steve Reichlin is not a live fire, right?
Yeah, of course. Live fire, barbecue grilling. Like, he's probably the antithesis of,
right.
Everybody knows him.
Well, yeah, sure. I was just trying to think though. It doesn't seem like in my circles, like the American Royal, he doesn't do some of these events. I mean, obviously he's a huge TV thing, but he doesn't get out there like a Tuffy Stone, like those types of guys, I don't know. Steve Reichlin seems like to me be like kind of a different barbecue personality that's like huge, but like in a different way, right? Not like a Myron Mixon.
Yeah.
Like you see those guys out on the competition circuit. I don't think I've ever seen Steve Reichlin out there.
No, like here and there, but I would say he's not out competing by you're absolutely right on that. He's not following the competition trail. He might get invited to make an appearance at a competition, but they're probably inviting him in because he wrote Barbecue Bible, or maybe he's doing some kind of a current book tour and they want him to stop out and make an appearance there to maybe draw some general public in. But he's definitely not out there. I think one time he did, what was the show I used to love back in the old days with Kitchen Stadium? Iron Chef. But not the Iron Chef on Food Network now where it's with the American chefs. This was when they had the Asian chefs and they were dubbing over whatever they were saying with the English commentators. You remember seeing it in that version at all by chance?
Yeah, I can't say that, Chris.
It was the best show. I mean, it was so hijinks, but he did a Iron Chef barbecue edition against some Japanese chef in Japan, and he won. And it was
really
like everybody was shocked, but so he's done some very few competitions, but I can see where you're coming from. Look, enough of this. Let's talk about something important. Let's talk about business at Fireboard. Wireless thermometer update on the rollout. Where are we at?
So the Pulse, you're talking about the Pulse, right?
Yes.
Yep. We are cranking away. Production's probably a little slower than we anticipated. And what that means, any new product, you've just all these little details, and things have been going just a touch slower, Greg. But we are making really good progress.
How many have you sold at this point, and how do you see the continued rollout happening for the balance of the year?
So we've kind of, I guess, structured this with these actual builds. Like when we build boards at Fireboard, and as you know, we do this in Kansas City. So we have the machines that we invested in to actually do the printed circuit board assembly in-house, which is kind of fun to watch. If anybody's in Kansas City, feel free to stop by. We have guys that come by to see us. They're like, hey, I'm in town. And some guy was like on an RV tour across America. And he's like, I have to stop at Fireboard Labs in Kansas City.
Wow.
So, anyway, welcome to come by. But, we're building the boards there. And usually it's a build of 1,000. For the Pulse, we're doing builds of 2,000.
Wow.
So we have...
Oh, dear. I'm waiting for everything to shut off on my end, but everything is not shut off.
Another batch.
Ted, I just lost you for like 15 or 20 seconds there. So you said you were building in batches of 2,000 for the Pulse, and then I lost you.
Yeah, so the first 2,000 we finished, and that was about a month ago. And then the next 2,000 we just finished today, literally.
Wow.
And then we have a third batch of 2,000, which is starting basically tomorrow. So we've essentially pre-sold almost 6,000, and we're still operating kind of in a pre-order mode. So we don't have our online store where you can just buy it now. It's still sign up for a pre-order. So we don't really know yet, being wide open, how things are going to look. But I think sales have been really strong.
Do you see a point in time where you'll just be inventorying the Pulse like you do with every other product, and 5 months from now or 2 years from now I could just go on fireboard.com and buy a Pulse or 10 and away I go?
Oh, sure. We were hoping to do that coming into the Black Friday, because obviously Black Friday is huge, right? So the goal would be to have as much stock as we can, but I don't think we're going to quite be in stock on the Pulse, so people probably still need to pre-order. I'm hoping that we can get most of the orders filled, in time for Christmas. But it's been a push. I mean, we've sold more than we anticipated, and then production has been a little bit slower than we anticipated.
Are you running 24/7, or you just run one shift, normal 8 hours? What's the actual look like?
No, we haven't pushed to a different schedule, except I will say, there's a couple of us, myself included, that we will once in a while, it's especially, honestly, even just tonight, Greg, we had the machines running and I kind of stood a little bit late, kind of raced home to hop on the podcast here with you, but there's a couple of us that will actually stay. And there's one gentleman that he doesn't mind working late. So he's actually, sometimes he'll stay there till midnight, 2, 3 a.m.
Wow.
And yeah, I mean, like if those machines are cranking, then just keep them going. You know, it's smooth sailing.
How much human building is also a part of this?
Quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, so the pulse, if you can imagine, like there's this itty bitty little circuit board that goes down inside of that little metal tube, which is essentially the probe, right? So the probe goes into the meat. Well, that little circuit board is done by the machines. So it's a pick and place machine is what it's called. And that's essentially automated and very, very fast. Once you have that circuit board, you know, we have to hand solder a battery. We have to connect a wiring harness that has the antennas. And then you have to assemble, there's like a ceramic piece and there's like some metal pieces, and all that stuff has to be done by hand.
If I pre-ordered a Pulse today, is there a rough turn time on when I might see it? I know you said you were hoping to get things filled before Christmas, but is there like a rough, if you order it today, you typically see it in 2 or 3 weeks, or what does that look like?
Well, let's see. What is it? November 26th. I mean, if you order today, I mean, our goal would be to get it to you before Christmas. That's a little, so I mean, we're probably 3 to 4, we're right around that 3 to 4 week range.
What are we looking at again on price point for those of us that are just hearing for it the first time?
$149,
right.
And that comes with a charger, and that the Pulse will connect directly to the phone too, so you don't have to have anything else like in the Fireboard ecosystem.
But we do suggest the gateway or the repeater or whatever you're calling it.
Yeah, we call it the S1G antenna. Yep. So that's short for sub 1 gigahertz. And most people know, but you know, we're trying to improve the connection experience, and we did that with using a lower frequency. So if you have a Fireboard, you can buy that S1G antenna and just plugs right into the Fireboard, and then now you can connect all of your S1G devices. The beacon is also an S1G device, but the Pulse is a wireless probe, obviously, and so that's where you really get that extra range if you've got the S1G.
And if I have 5 pulses and I stick them all into my turkey on Thursday, as long as I have the antenna, it's going to grab all 5 of those wireless thermometers.
Yep. I'm going to try to do a fried turkey, and I'll put the Pulse down in the oil.
It seems to be something that people are measuring, although when I had David Gafford on the show last week, I asked him, you know, out of 10 people, how many are actually using some kind of wireless thermometer to deep fry. We both agreed it was probably less than 1 out of 10 people. But as somebody who's making this like for a living, are you always trying to figure out the balance between consumers say they want this, but we all know in reality they're never going to use it for that. But if we don't have it, then they might buy brand X. So we're going to put it on there anyway, even though we don't personally as a business believe in it.
That's a good question. You know, I really am careful about getting wrapped up in sort of the hot topic of what consumers say they want. And I think it's a little dangerous to design your products that way. So I think you really have to start with what makes sense. And if you get distracted with somebody's, you know, they want you to do this or they want you to do that, I mean, you head in like 50 different directions and you never get it done.
So as I had mentioned, I had David Gafford on last week, and he did quite an extensive video, 9 different wireless thermometers, I believe it was. Fireboard right up there at the top in the final evaluation. Do you guys see any tangible results from a video like that, or is it just good to have the name out there and, hey, we performed well, at least in this guy's test, and we'll take that?
Oh, sure. I mean, he drives pretty good traffic. I mean, I think that weekend when he dropped the video on his YouTube channel, we saw a pretty decent lift, you know, in sales that day. I think it was maybe a Sunday, or maybe he dropped it late Saturday. So, he's an affiliate. So, you know, there's a handful of affiliates, you know, people that generate content, and then they get, you know, a cut of the fee or cut of the sale if somebody clicks on their link, and then they actually convert on our website.
What do you think of the tests that he was doing? I asked him how he tries to pick out what he thinks consumer wants, and he told me, I'm just doing the test that I think I want to do, and I'm not really relying on input from the fan base. But what do you, as somebody who's making it, do you think those tests are fair?
Oh, I think so. I think David does a great job, honestly. I think it's his wife's name is Melissa, I think. But they've done a great job. I mean, the two of them crank out, these great videos, and the content. It's really helpful, I think, for people to be able to check out these videos and actually learn something more about these products. I think all of it seems like a lot of real world tests, like a lot of real world cooking, and I think he does a great job.
Any new updates being planned for the Pulse as you go into next year?
Well, we're trying to finish the bridge. I think I mentioned there's this product we've been working on called the bridge, and it's essentially, we had a guy that came in the office the other day, but it's somebody that wants to run beacons or run pulses over S1G, but maybe they don't have a Fireboard. So this will be a neat little device. It's almost kind of like a router. You'll stick it in your house, and that way anything S1G will connect via this bridge, and you don't have to have a Fireboard.
Any new updates for any of the other existing products in 2025 planned?
Well, we have, in fact, literally this week, we are rolling out new firmware. So anybody listening, with Fireboard products, that includes the Yoder pellet smokers. So we have new firmware, which just adds, number one, it improves the connectivity with the Pulse, because you get that Bluetooth connection with any Fireboard. And then there's some really cool, like on the Fireboard 2, there's just some UI improvements with like the way that the charts and the graphs work. And when you have multiple devices, like many different pulses paired, it gives you different screens. So there's been a lot of work going on. And there's kind of normal bug fixes and connectivity stuff. So pretty exciting for us to be this is a big firmware rollout, to be honest. So we've been kind of working on this for a while.
And you just need to have it plugged in, ready to go, and it'll just accept it over the air?
Yep. Just make sure, obviously just make sure you're connected to your wireless network, and it'll update within about 10 minutes.
Any new products, brand new products that are going to be rolled out first half of next year?
The only thing I'll tell you, Greg, is we've dabbled with some temperature. Well, people know Fireboard Drive, right? And Drive is where you can control like a Kamado or kind of like a wood or charcoal grill. And so we kind of have this accessory that will be specifically geared towards a grill out there in the marketplace already. And so essentially it's kind of like an accessory you can buy for this grill, and it'll give you that Fireboard Drive control. So I don't want to say a whole lot more, but we'll be talking about this pretty quick.
Does it rhyme with him, fleen, sneg?
No.
Okay. Allegedly. Yeah. All right. So this is a well-known grill out on the market otherwise?
A very well-known grill.
All right. Are you partnering with them, or are you just making it just kind of to work with that kind of grill?
Yeah, not yet, but there's always these conversations that kind of start and stop and start and stop. And so we really thought this product was something that would make sense for people, because it just expands the capabilities, and it sort of actually goes with some of these things like the Fireboard Pulse, like for instance, like rotisserie. So there's some, I'll give you a few more hints there, but like this sort of enables a little bit of rotisserie type of, which I haven't done a ton of rotisserie cooking, but I mean, a rotisserie chicken is great, and so now we can do that with the Pulse, but we need to have our own rotisserie so people can set that up and use it.
Is your biggest in-market competitor now ThermoWorks, or is it Combustion Inc.? Because I'm seeing a lot of stuff that all of a sudden is similar to what you guys are offering. Not in a bad competitive way, but just friendly competitive, business competitive. Yeah,
no, I think that's fair. I think the combustion products seem to to be really, again, geared towards that higher end of the market, really high quality. Probably the ThermoWorks is the same way. So I think probably the three brands, the Combustion, ThermoWorks, and us are probably the three that are competing. But I always say, competition is good, right? It makes us a better company. I think for the consumer, it gets them better products, and they have choices, right? If we're out of stock and people are dying to have a wireless probe, they can buy the Combustion, and vice versa.
Travel plans for 2025 before I let you go. Where are you guys going to be at least the first half of next year?
Well, we're going to make it to Colorado for sure. We need to do a couple snowboard trips. So I take my kids out to Colorado and hit the slopes. So that's the only thing we're going to do. We don't have any exact dates yet, but we'll be out there hopefully several times.
We'd be doing like HPB this year. I think it was going back to New Orleans before the world shut down. It's going back there.
Yeah, we did not do HPBA last year, and I don't think we will this year. So we've been doing a restaurant show instead.
Yep.
And for us to do more than one of these big trade shows, I guess we've done a couple or three, but it just seems like a lot, and I think the restaurant show has been really, really good. So I think we'll keep doing that.
It's the one in Chicago, right?
Yeah, it's huge. It's at that McCormick Convention Center. I mean, it's just massive.
All right. Well, that's driving distance, so maybe I'll take a look at it this year and shoot out to Chicago. There's some other folks that I know that go out there and say what a great show it is. So we'll see. All right, this is Ted Conrad, Fireboard.com, the website, of course. If you are interested in that wireless thermometer we've been talking about, get on the pre-order. Hopefully you'll have it here before Christmas hits us. Ted, always appreciate the time. Continued success, and we'll talk to you in the next year.
Thank you, Greg. Have a good one.
Have a great Thanksgiving, too, by the way. So, Ted Conrad right there from Fireboard, longtime sponsor of the show, and I'm sure he's finally happy to not have to field the question at the end of every interview going, when is the wireless thermometer coming out? When are you guys doing that? They did it, and they are one of the market leaders to boot. So, congratulations to everybody out there at Fireboard. A very well-performing Pulse. $149, I believe you said it was, to get you going, plus some other ancillary products if you want. I think that sub 1G antenna, very inexpensive, so you just want to add that. Just add it in. Go ahead. All right, let's go ahead and step away real quick, and then we'll come back with the recap of the first hour. Head to the second hour. Stick around. Be right back.
Continuing to produce incredibly mediocre content in an exceptionally professional way. You're listening and watching the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
And we thank Ted Conrad for joining us. Last segment. Of course, the show being brought to you by Primo Grills. The best ceramic cooker out there on the market, only sold through dealers. So please, oh please, go to primogrill.com, find a dealer near you, check them out on Facebook and Instagram. All the accessories you want, and of course that legendary game-changing oval design that gives you the ability to execute that two-zone setup that you desire. Good folks over at Primo, longtime sponsor of this show, just like Fireboard is. In fact, my Fireboard and my Primo go together like hand und glove. I used my Fireboard on Saturday for the big prime rib cook that we did this past weekend. Delicious. All right, we're pointing to the second hour. Refresh your libations, and we'll be back with some hot second hour takes. Of course, the embedded correspondence coming up after that. You're listening and watching the Barbecue Central Show right here on the Barbecue Central Network. Stick around. We'll be right back.